Death is always painful, but death is a prominent issue, a prominent topic in literature. Whether it is I Could Not Stop for Death, or whether it is Anton Chekhov's story, The Bat, or any other story, everywhere, most of the time, we find death as a powerful emotion to raise human pity, as well as it teaches us that life is temporary. But one thing we have to remember, a clock does not stop when the battery gets over, we replace that one. Death does not stop humanity. The humanity is a kind of circle and it will be carried on and it will stay forever. Literature reflects the pain of death in order to show the kind of pain human beings suffer, as well as a sense of pity that is needed in each and every human being. In this story, the death is unexpected as well as very painful, but at the same time it is needed in this story in order to show the inhuman nature of the society as well as the dark side of poverty. So good evening, my dear children. So we'll start from that very place where we stopped last time. She did not dare to go home. That means she had no wish to return home, for she had sold no matches and earned not a single penny. Presently we talk about child labor and different things. Here you can also see a kind of child labor, and that is supported by both her parents as well as the society. So if the parents are villain, society is also a villain here. There should be some assistance from such kind of poor little child, because she is also a human being. She has the right to live a proper, meaningful, upright life. Her father would be sure to beat her, and besides, it was so cold at home. So the house was extremely cold. House is normally what? Home is normally what? It provides us shelter, but hardly it can be called a shelter, because there is father who is not like a father. He is father, but is not a father figure, does not have any sympathy, love, affection for his child. That is why he has allowed his daughter to go out in such shivering cold night and sell matchbox. It was so cold at home, for they had nothing but the roof above them and the wind whistled through that. Even though the largest cracks were stopped with straws and rags, the largest cracks were stopped with, that means filled up with straws and rags. So cracks are there in the house, those are filled up, yet cold is not totally prevented here. Her thin hands were almost numb with cold. If only she dared pull just one small match from the packet, strike it on the wall and warm her fingers. Just one piece of match that will warm her body in such shivering cold night. Now the matchbox all are in her pocket, all the matchboxes. She can easily do that, but till now she has not done that because she has the fear. So one side it is life, another side it is death, and what makes the connection between life and death, the distinction, the difference or the separation is done by the matchboxes here. So little is the difference between life and death. We think food, we think of luxuries, and here is only matchstick that is going to take one person from life to death. She pulled one out, scratching sound, onomatopoeia, that is the figures of speech here. How it spluttered and burnt. Spluttered, you can use the term flickered. How means very brightly it flickered and burnt. It had warm, bright flame like a tiny candle when she held her hand over it. It seems like a candle she was holding. But what a strange light! Exclamatory sign. From here, a specific thing starts, that is the vision. The girl will have 3 visions or 4 visions, and every vision will get disappeared with the matchstick. The matchstick is going to get put off, as well as the vision is going to get switched off, totally vanished. So be careful here, children. But what a strange light! It seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting in front of a great iron stove. She is sitting in front of a stove or oven, that is what? Iron stove. Polished brass knobs. The knobs of that stove is made of brass. And brass ornament. It is highly decorated. The stove or the oven is highly decorated. That is normally called chula. In Bengali, you call unun. So you see, these things, this particular stove is not there in reality. She is imagining, because it was shivering cold, and what was the utmost urgency of that girl was something to make herself warm. And she got what? She got this iron stove in her imagination. She was not in normal condition now. She is almost drowsy. She is almost in subconscious mind. The fire burned so beautifully. The fire burned so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. It was very beautiful, warm, warm environment she experienced. Oh, how wonderful that was! The child had already stretched her feet to warm them, to when out went the flame. And when she stretched her legs, out went the flame. The stove vanished, and there sat with the burnt match in her hand, and she was sitting alone with a black color burnt matchstick. Ashes of her dream, ashes of her imagination. That is nothing but the destruction, the dead body of her imagination. So the dreams got destroyed. The remaining ashes, remaining is kept in the shape of the burnt matchstick. So here burnt matchstick symbolizes the death of a dream. So this is the first imagery that you got. This is entirely a visual imagery, as well as warm feeling is there. So it is kinesthetic. So when the feeling comes, it comes kinesthetic imagery, and when it is related to something visual thing, so that is visual imagery. So we have both visual as well as kinesthetic imagery. She struck another. It burned clearly, and where the light fell upon the wall, the brick became transparent. Another one was burned, and where did the light fall? The place became transparent. The wall that was made of brick to separate the poor world from the riches, the wall became transparent. So it is the light of hope. The wall entirely looked like a glass. She can directly peep inside what is going on inside the house. Like gauze. Gauze means the transparent cloth we use for medical purpose. So you can see another side. She could see right into the room where a shining white cloth was spread on the table. She can see, she can imagine, she can visualize what is going on inside. A table was there, and the table was covered with a tablecloth, beautiful tablecloth, and that was shining and white in color. It was covered with beautiful china. China means porcelain. One beautiful porcelain cup or plate is kept there, and in the center of it stood a roast goose. So a roasted goose is also kept. She is hungry, and she is imagining what? Her utmost urgency, food. That is the basic necessity for our human being, for our human civilization. Stuffed with prunes and apples, steaming deliciously. It was steaming, smelling deliciously. We have here smelling, that means that is olfactory, as well as we have that visual imagery, taste, that is gustatory. So all these imageries are mixed up here. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down from the dish, waddled across. Waddle means walk slowly across the floor with curving knife and fork in his back. The goose was walking towards the little child so that it can be eaten. Food is walking towards that little girl. In her imagination, she can see, she cannot enter the house. Instead, the food can come out of the house and just serve her in the time of need. Waddle stepped up to the poor child. Then out went the match. Then just went off the match. And nothing could be seen but the thick cold wall. And what can be seen? The thick cold wall and nothing else. So that was the second vision or the second imagery that she had. Very painful. A little food could save her. A little human warmth can save her. The sympathy can save her. These all things are missing here. She struck another match and suddenly she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. Obviously, the time of Christmas, festivity. She imagined that she was sitting under the Christmas tree, under the light. It was much larger and much lovelier than the one she had seen last year through the glass door of the rich merchant house. In her imagination, she has found something larger than she had ever seen. Very beautiful Christmas tree, pine tree, decorated with plenty of lights. 1,000 candles lit up and green branches. 1,000 of candles lit up in the green branches. The light, she discovered the light as the candle on the Christmas tree rose higher and higher through the year, and those lights went up like the stars. And she saw they had now turned into white stars. She is in total hallucination, hardly any life left in her. She could imagine all these things, utopian thing, such a surrealistic thing. This is called surrealistic, that means beyond realist, something beyond reality called surreal, S-U-R-R-E-A-L. She saw they had now turned into white stars. One of them fell, one of the stars fell, streaking the sky with light, and the entire sky was lightened up. Now, she could beg for money, she could beg for shelter. No, she had self-respect, self-esteem. She could not sell all those things. She could sell the matches, but she could not sell her character. She could not sell her values, her emotion, her sentiment, her value as a human being. No one can sell. And look, she is just imagining those things which she wants very badly, but she cannot ask from anywhere. She can sell her matches, earn her living, and live her life. Very little girl, hardly of 7-8 years of age. Very little. Too hard to face the extreme situation of the world. She has not been taught in that way to accept all those treatments of her world. But what to do? World is like this, and she is just going through this painful situation. Today up to this, and next day we will complete the story. We will have 2 more videos for this very topic. One is for ending the text, and another one will be for a conclusion that will help us to understand the topic properly. Thank you very much. Go through this topic with the utmost attention. If you find any doubt, you can ask in any way, whether it is comment or WhatsApp, any way you want, or further any help, anything is needed, you just ask that one, sir, we need to learn this one, we need this topic, so please provide suggestion. That will help me to make new videos, different types of videos. Okay, thank you very much, my dear children.